The views and opinions expressed in these historical letters that may contain vernacular used in the World War II era, the post-war era, and the Cold War era do not reflect the views and opinions of any of the individuals involved with this project, including, but not limited to, the podcast's creators. Good morning, Jamie.
Good.
How are you doing this morning?
Oh, lovely, lovely. It is, so it's November 1st right now at the time it's recording. And so Halloween was last night.
Yep.
And so I took the kids trick-or-treating. It was fun.
Oh, yeah. So what were the kids this year? What were the costumes?
Oh, goodness. Well, he was one of those inflatable dinosaurs,
Mm.
And I've seen them before, and this time the costume had a place to put his face, so it wasn't inside, because some people have him inside, so it was more comfortable.
Yeah.
And my daughter was a character from a video game.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's Fortnite. Was it Fortnite?
Okay. Yeah, that's a popular game.
Or Forsaken. There's I think it might have been Forsaken. She was Elliot from Forsaken. So yeah. But it was fun. It was enjoyable, and it was you had that. It was a lovely little community. I live just outside of this lovely little community, and they put it on, and it was all the kids run around at night with their costumes, and it was really lovely.
That sounds like a lot of stuff I remember when I was a kid, and I remember some of my favorite costumes as a kid. My mom would make all the costumes. We never bought a costume. And I really loved being Supergirl. I remember watching the Helen Slater Supergirl. That came out the year I was born. So I don't think that's a coincidence. So I remember that, but I very much remember the most famous costume. I have to find a picture of it. Is when I was Darth Vader in 5th grade.
Nice.
We made the Darth Vader outfit. It's Franz. He's deciding to be disruptive.
Franz is here.
Yeah, we made it, and because Darth Vader's super tall and I'm super short, we built it so like the whole top portion, like his head was made out of a milk gallon jug. And then we built this whole foam thing, so I would hold it on little poles, and then I'd look out through his chest. So he would be above me with a long cape, and they would keep putting it on and off. So it had to be really funny, and I wish I could find a photo of it, because it was just like this big Darth Vader and then like a pair of legs, right? Like this like little kid, and I'm like, I need to find a picture of this.
Oh, I'm sure your mom has a picture. We'll have to get it.
Yeah. Oh man, it was fun times. Halloween's fun. And then, well, the only thing not too fun is my dryer broke. I didn't tell you about that, Jamie.
Your dryer broke?
It broke, and like it's the rubber band that spins the wheel for the dryer, so the wheel is actually out of the dryer right now. There's like, I don't know if people can see it, but there's this odd like big wheel behind the player there. That's the thing that turns inside. But Dad, because and this relates to the podcast, I wanted to bring this up. Remember how Lewis said he wanted to be an engineer?
I do.
He might not have become an engineer full-time, but he's an engineer enough that he can fix it himself. We didn't have to call anybody. So thanks to Dad for ordering the part and disassembling. I've never seen a dryer so disassembled. I'm like, whoa. The old dryer. But yeah.
You gotta trust the process.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just knows. So well, he fulfilled that part of his letter from.
That's always fun. So many years later. To realize that, that's one of the things I really do enjoy about the letters. Is this time jump that we have between little Lewis and not so little Lewis.
Yeah. So,
but I'm very excited for today because this is another like little mini milestone. We're on episode 80. We're recording episode 80 today.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's a bigger milestone. I'm gonna call it bigger than that because here we are in the 50s, right? And we're coming up on a big world event. So this is the last episode before that happens. And the fact that that's colliding with episode 80, there's something notable about this. Like it's a chapter that is ending in a way in
Mhm.
season 2 with episode 80. But we've got a lot of content to get into, so I'll just go through the general housekeeping real quick. If you could please like, share, and subscribe to the Love Sweetie podcast on YouTube, that'd be really helpful. Just click that little subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you know when there's new episodes, new content available from the Love Sweetie podcast. If you're listening on the podcast audio channels, welcome to all of our audio listeners. Welcome to all of our new listeners across all platforms. But for the audio, for Apple Podcasts, for Spotify, click the relevant things so you can follow the Love Sweetie podcast wherever you're listening to it. We appreciate all that. Leave a review if you can, and then of course you'll want to check out the content, especially the photos, on the website at www.lovesweetiepodcast.com. That's about it, Jamie. We're gonna dive into. We're now in April of 1950. We're leaving March. We'd had a good amount of content for the early spring, but there's a lot of stuff kind of up in the air right now. Just to recap to some of our newer listeners, some things we're maybe concerned about. Sweetie really wanted to get a garden going. So
Mhm.
this is that time. We're going to see if that actually happens a bit. Their car's not working. Lou's been hitchhiking to
Oh.
base. So,
Yeah, he's been hitchhiking. That has to be so upsetting.
yep. And Chester and Laura are trying. They're trying to get Sweetie to come to Iowa, which is not great timing for Sweetie this year. She's protested, but it seems in the last episode she was relenting a bit on that and might head to Iowa. So there's a lot going on, a lot of things up in the air right now. And with that, I think we'll dive into April 30th. County Line Road, Hatboro, Pennsylvania. Sunday, April 30th, 1950. Dear Mama, Papa, Jean, Lizzie's, Frank's, and Florence. I guess word has gotten to all of you by now of our illnesses in the weeks since Easter. Louis got sick with a croup cough on Tuesday, following Easter Sunday, and kept me more or less on the jump. We thought a time or two we had it killed, and then when the sulfa ran out, it did finally get ahead of me, and we resorted to the free medical care of the Naval Clinic. He spent one miserable night with an earache when I bundled him off to the Naval Hospital for a thorough going over and a resultant penicillin shot administered with much fussing, and while I hate to admit it, it took the hospital corpsman and me both holding him and a nurse to do the actual shooting, and still the elastic in his underwear got broken during the shuffle. He responded to the penicillin, 300,000 units, surprisingly fast, considering his reaction with the adenitis a couple of years ago, and by night time was feeling better, with eardrops and a good dose of aspirin. He spent a good night and has been continually on the mend since, aside from a little deafness in the infected ear. I wrote the folks that it had drained on his pillow and on the cotton, but only one night, and we took him back again to have them look at it, and the doctor said it was doing fine, that the deafness was a necessary temporary thing that should soon pass. He tickles me, though, for while he doesn't hear very well, his own voice sounds funny to him, and often he does a little testing, as so often you hear done with a PA system. He tests best on the word well, and it is quite common to see him stop in the middle of his play and sit still long enough to say, well, well, well. I lost some sleep while Louis wasn't very well, but not such a lot. Nevertheless, I was feeling tired and washed out and just absolutely worthless. Lou had the duty on Friday night a week ago, and I was sitting watching the television alone, decided about 9:30 I couldn't stay awake much longer, and went to bed. After I got in bed, I found my gland a little sore, decided it was the start of a cold, got up and took 3 sulfas, and went back to bed. Woke at about 4, found the swelling much greater, took more sulfa, and went back to bed. Woke at about 7, and looked like a prize pig ready for market prices, but couldn't decide what it was. Decided by myself it must be an adenitis like Louis had, and remembering we gave sulfa to Louis, took another dose. By the time Lou got home at noon, the swelling had increased still further, and while I wasn't feeling so bad, I thought the wisest thing was to see a doctor, and going down to the Naval Hospital was a good chance to have the doctor re-examine Louis's ear, so we went. Oh yes, we had made arrangements to get our new car that day too, and inasmuch as Lou had requested special liberty for the day, felt we had to go to Derby, sick or not. The doctor first said no, it wasn't mumps. The swelling did not start in the parotid gland, but rather in the submaxillary. And because I had not been sick and without mumps symptoms, decided it was an inflammation of the submaxillary gland, possibly a stone. He sent me home to care for it, and assured it was not mumps. So we went to Derby, and Lou washed our old car at Elizabeth's, hoping to sell it right then. I went into Elizabeth's house, and made myself at home for several hours. We went and got the car, and started home, late, at about 10:30 at night, and it is a good hour or hour and a quarter drive up here. By the time we got home, Lou bringing the new car and me with the old, I was feeling pretty punk, chilled to the bone, headachy, and feverish. I went right to bed, and with aspirin and a hot water bottle, slept pretty well. But when I woke up in the morning, oi, 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 what a sight! I couldn't find the line of my jawbone. The swelling extended down to my collarbone, to the breastbone in front, and looked as though it were extending up past my chin to the corresponding gland on the right side. That I could have stood all right, I think, but the swelling had apparently about closed up my throat, and I could not swallow without gagging. I could hardly keep from gagging, whether I was swallowing or not. So we went back to the Naval Hospital, dropped Lewis off with Aunt Betty and G-Mom on the way. The same doctor was still on duty, so they called him off the ward to see me, and was surely surprised, said he thought the swelling had increased to 3 times the size of the day before, found my temperature up, called another doctor, and still a third. He was a graying middle-aged man, quick and clipped. They had apparently been talking about it, for when he came in and started looking at me, he said, "Yes, I'd say that was a very good diagnosis," and called it mumps. You know my explosive nature, and my first reaction was, "Ah, you're kidding!" I'm not kidding. I think it is mumps, and I haven't had them myself, you'll excuse me. They took a blood count, and had they not been pretty well satisfied with the blood count, would have taken x-rays. I was flabbergasted. He wrote out a list of do's and don'ts, and we came home, and I went right to bed with a temperature that stayed at 101.4 till about Monday noon, when it left, and I've been free of that since then. But the swelling... And then on Monday, I got the sorest throat I can ever remember having since I was a little kid. Monday and Tuesday was all it lasted, though, and from then on I was getting better. Lou got time off to stay at home and take care of me. He did a fine job, and I didn't even get out of bed until Tuesday night. The swelling is going down steadily, but quite gradually, and the gland is more tender to the touch than it was at its height of swelling. I haven't really been so sick, aside from the sore throat, but being sick has been hard on my morale, and I didn't even get any mail except a card from Daddy blasting my ears off long distance for not having written. And no doubt he received my letters at the same time. I received his raking.
So it's not as prevalent now because we do have the MMR vaccine that is used, but mumps is something that that they did have. And remember too, she also had measles.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's had them before. I don't know where she got it, but I can't get over the fact that she had the mumps, and then she puts in there too. I went over to Elizabeth's and made myself at home with pregnant Elizabeth,
right,
and frail G-Mom,
yep,
and little Bobby.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that, oh man, they probably didn't get it, but she also, it's not something that you get and it's like some debilitating thing. It's like a bad cold, a bad sore throat. She had it on Friday, and by Tuesday she was feeling better.
Yeah.
So that's good. And honestly, when she's like, Lou stayed home, was able to stay home and take care of her. Aww.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sweet. And she said he did a good job too, so that was nice. But oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then, because the mumps story that she has takes over, we can't forget in the first couple of paragraphs, Lewis was sick, which is like TikTok. You know, it's been a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're expecting Lewis to get sick. It had been a nice little lull there for a while. Oh, Lewis is in the hospital. What's that? A penicillin shot?
Oh, yeah.
Great. You know?
Right. But he fought it because he's strong.
Yeah.
But he broke his underwear doing it. But he was in the hospital. He was, and she was trying to stay ahead of it, and they ended up going back to the Naval Hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but she went when she went to the Naval Hospital and they misdiagnosed her, and then she came back. I bet that doctor never heard the end of that from those other doctors.
And you know, Chester's reading this and being like, my daughter knows better because I raised her right and she knows how to identify these things. And so there's a lot of commentary here that I bet there is that scene happening at the Naval Hospital. It's like, I think this is mumps. My dad's a doctor. But of course, then she also has to disclaim or not disclaim how many doses of sulfa did she take in a 24-hour period there before she even went to the Naval Hospital. She's like, I'm going to take 3 sulfas. So they were tablets at the time. She takes her 3 and then she's like, wakes up later in the night and is like, still there. I'll take some more sulfa. And then she takes another dose before she goes to the hospital. So she's 3 doses in to sulfa before she even gets to the hospital. Jamie, I don't know if you'd like to do the honors of the nice little disclaimer about medicines of the past here, but you're welcome to do it if you'd like to.
Well, you kind of got me kicked off there. So this is medical advice and medical stories from the 1950s. We're in the 50s now.
Yep.
This is not advice for you if you wake up and you have a sore throat and you're all swelly. Go see your doctor. Yeah, these medicines of the past, highly regulated right now, but clearly not so regulated for Sweetie back then, who has access to it because, her dad's a doctor. So, well, I just love how she's like, I don't feel good. I'm going to take some sulfa. Oh, I still don't feel good. The sulfa's not doing anything. I'm just going to take some more.
Yep.
Oh, I'm still like, honey, the sulfa wasn't doing anything.
Yep. Right.
I don't think that it does for her anymore, but we'll see.
Maybe she's like building a natural immunity to taking too much sulfa. I wonder if that's a thing.
Yeah, her body's like, this is sulfa. We get this on the reg. But also, we totally skimmed over because of the sickness and whatnot. They got a new car.
Yeah. So.
And I'm sorry, when I was reading this, so they got a new car. I don't know the story about it, but apparently it had been set up and this was predetermined before she got sick.
Yeah.
So they had to go. She's like, we have to go. And they went and got the car. And I guess he was going to try to sell it, but then did not. And he drove the new car and then made her drive the old car. I'm sorry. Like, if that would have been me, I would be like, I'm going to take the new car that shakes and does all the bad things and we're worried about it falling apart.
Right.
So I thought that was funny. But they got a new car.
Yep. And speaking of, by the way, the old car, we were talking, there was an offer from Frank about the WK. We were talking about that. So I heard back from my dad, from other family members about the WK that we were talking about. It's the Willie's Night. That's what the K
Willie's
was.
Night.
Willie's Night. And it was...
That sounds fancy.
Yeah, it's like a beloved family car. It's what Chester had. So it's like the old doctor's car. We've heard about a lot of Chester's cars getting stuck actually in the road, and it was really fondly remembered. Dad sent me a picture, not of Chester's car, but of exactly what the model would be. I'll see if I can get that on the website so people can see. It's a cool looking car. It's just got like this big like station wagon, like in the old school kind of way vibe, where you've got like that big carriage in the back and the front. It looks like a doctor's car. It looks like, back then the ambulance kind of look to it.
When I heard Willie's, and then of course we were talking, like that's the Jeeps were developed during World War II.
Right.
So I was thinking it was kind of like a Willie's Jeep, like that. So I wasn't, but now that you've kind of said it's yes, and so you're going to get that picture on the website because
I'll put it up there for sure. So my dad wrote, it definitely has that kind of vibe. He said he sent a picture of one from about 1935. I think he took this picture at the Truman Presidential Library. I think this is the one there's a huge car collection at the Truman Presidential Library, which I know. Who expects that to be there? Because there was like a Plymouth there. But the Willie's Night, he took a picture of it there. I think that's a Plymouth behind it. And then he said the hubcaps on the Willie's Night have WK on them. And the hood ornament is a knight on a horse. So it's just like, this is the Chester Doctor car. I don't know. I think Sweetie and Lou would have looked pretty cool rolling around Hatboro in like this boss old school vibey car for the 50s. But
can you imagine him pulling up to the base?
Yeah.
Like all of his friends, like, this is my car.
So.
But anyway, so that was like, we got so much. They got a new car. Lewis got sick again. She got the mumps. Things are going crazy. But we're still not done with this letter.
Nope.
We got a little bit more to go.
I must get into gear and get the bed stripped and washed and some of the dirt and dust cleaned up, as I don't see how Lewis can escape them. And with his tendency to get sicker than anybody else, I fully expect to have my hands full. I can't see how he has escaped them at all, as he was everywhere I was and stood the same chance of exposure. I guess it is my fault for not telling Jean I was sick, but I didn't even hear from her. Haven't for some time. Opie, are you mad on me? Our new car is a 1948 black Chevrolet coupe, club coupe as I guess it is called, has a back seat that will accommodate the same number of people as our old one did. It is just like new, has been driven only 1,200 miles, has original tires in fine condition. There are custom-made seat covers, there isn't a mark or dent on it, and we are indeed pleased with it. We probably paid a good price for it, $1,200, but since we knew the man and the care he gave the car, we felt we were probably better off in the long run to pay a little more for it and be satisfied that we weren't buying a punk one, dressed up a bit. I'm dying to get my hands on it, haven't yet driven it, and I can hardly wait. Lou seems to like it pretty well, but hasn't said a great deal about it. My friend across the way has a 6-pound, 9-ounce daughter, born on Thursday by cesarean. She may be home this Thursday. I knitted the kid a sweater and must get it washed and dried for the trip home from the hospital. Like you, Papa, I was disappointed that the glory of the snow did not come out as early as the catalogues said they would. My jonquils were in bloom before they poked out their brave little heads. Once they did come through, they were pretty little things, but didn't grow tall enough to be very showy. My jonquils were truly delightful. The greenhouse man said he had never seen jonquils grown outside as nice as they were, with long tall stems and the biggest blooms I've ever seen. He said so too, but said he doubted if they'd ever be as nice again, whether they were dug up and replanted or not. Only one did not produce blooms, 1 bloom per bulb, but one didn't produce a bud. I wonder why not. The jonquils really were the prettiest, but the hyacinths were pretty too. I had the only yellow one in the neighborhood, but they don't grow high enough to suit me either. I had a yellow one, a pink one, a blue one, and a white one, and then another white one I set out later, bloomed a little later. I regret very much to tell you that the heavy rains we had has cost a great deal in my planting. The 7 grapevines seem to have withstood the drowning, but only 1 out of the 3 berry bushes survived. There isn't but 1 strawberry plant left out of my 3 dozen. The water ran a course right down through them and washed them out, and the few high ones just rotted off. Possibly 2 of the little mums lived that you sent me. I haven't been out in this last week or more to see about them, but don't think there'll be more than 2. The iris that you sent, plus the good one I ordered from Henry Field, were washed out so that the roots were exposed, and the dirt washed right away from them. I reset them, and they didn't look too bad the last I saw of them, but I wonder if they'll bloom. If they do, I'll cull out the poor ones of G-Mom Graham's that stood up better, and put them in their stead. The mock orange has small buds, leaf buds, but I think the baby's breath has drowned too. The rose bushes have stood up marvelously, are budding profusely. G-Mom brought us 6 more, and Lou set them out a couple of weeks ago. I am sorely disappointed in some of it, but the jonquils were so beautiful that I can't grieve too much. I shall make every effort to have more next year. I've about 50 gladiolus bulbs to set out very shortly, but shall have to decide where the best place will be, as the directions say, do not plant where puddles stand after a rain. I believe I'll stop now and write again in a day or 2 if all goes according to plan. My morale is still not too high, and I'm not in the mood to write. Lou is asleep, and for some reason I hate to have him sleep on Sunday afternoon, more than at any other time. Write. I've not had any letters from you for a long time either. Love, Sweetie.
Mm-hmm. So, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to Allison about this too. When you start planning a new garden and you get into an area you're not familiar with, and of course we know from a few episodes ago that the farmer had disked their land to kind of smooth everything out. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that created some different places in the yard, and the water flowed a different way. And of course they had so many rain. Yeah. So she didn't have any idea where the water was going to be laying in her yard, except for being able to visualize it.
Mm-hmm.
So the jonquils came up, and she knows that those are good. And the rose bushes too. Like the rose bushes are doing well. We know Lou set those out
Mm-hmm.
near the back door, I remember.
Yep.
So she's like, this is, it's learning. I
Mm-hmm.
remember being very excited when I start my garden, and you try to like see where the sun's going to be and like what's going to
Yeah.
be blocking. You have to like plan where the tree's going to be shading at what time of year and that kind of stuff. It's actually a little bit more complicated. So, but I always loved her enthusiasm for the garden,
Yeah.
and so it's nice that she did have some things that came up and
Some
did well.
survived.
Yeah, because she was very excited about the baby's breath too. I remember.
Yeah, yeah, she was
Mhm.
trying to sort of, like, I think it was but didn't she have it inside, and she was trying to bring it back to life and then plant it out by the
Mhm.
road? I recall
Yeah.
that whole story, but, yeah, you can't do much about tons of rain, but I do love there's a great sort of symbolic thing that of all the things that did really well, as she says, it's the jonquils and the rose bushes. The jonquils are the Midwestern flower, and the rose bush, the wild rose, the prairie rose, is the state flower of Iowa. So, of all the things that made it through, I feel like it's the flowers connected most to her home. Isn't
Mm,
it's just
that's poetic. I
yeah,
like
I
that.
thought like yeah, they're gonna make it through. Like the fish out of water while they belong there. It's just yeah, something there.
I do like
Um,
that. The neighbor had their baby.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? And now we have another one.
Yeah.
She's a little bit older. It's
Mm-hmm.
Greenhouse Man's wife,
Yep.
and I love how she refers to him always as Greenhouse Man.
That's gonna be important. Again, I keep hinting at something. There's a big thing that's gonna happen. End of 1950. That content's gonna air right around Christmas time. The whole thing is, but why it's so critical. It's gonna play into the big stories heading into the end of. When I say it's gonna air around Christmas time, like literally the podcast episodes. There's a lot of stuff happening with the greenhouses, and then this big event. So just keep in your minds. It's really gonna play into the drama that's gonna come in here at the end of
Ooh.
1950 when we get to it at the end of 2025 in our story. And then the
Well,
car. We get the
oh,
whole
no, no.
description of the car, which I love the thought of this car. I have to go through the photograph collection. I'm sure there's a photo of this one that survived. I have to dig it out from the 50s. But the black Chevrolet coupe. And then if you want to get like a good idea in your head, especially audio listeners, we're not showing a picture on the screen right now. You're not missing anything. Just makes me think of The Godfather. It's that scene when they're heading to the Italian restaurant. Yeah.
Mhm.
If you know, you know. And then, R.I.P. Diane Keaton. Like, so, what a
Oh,
lot,
yeah, that was
right?
sad. I did
But,
really admire her as an actress. She was really great.
yeah. But,
But
yeah.
but that
Mhm.
was our first nice letter, and anyway, I really appreciate she was able to write something a little bit longer given that she's sick.
Yep.
But that was
Mhm.
our first letter for today. And so we have more. And
Mhm.
our second letter is from, ooh, man, May 24th. Man.
County Line Road, Hatboro, Pennsylvania, May 24th, 1950. Dear Mama and Papa, I got badly bogged down in my house cleaning, and still am not through. Have done windows outside, the 2 bedrooms, and as I go along I feel like doing the bare necessities and skipping over the rest. Lewis is recovered from the mumps. He never was very sick, and I'm glad it is over and done with. We are driving in our new car to New York this weekend, taking the typewriter along, and we're going to have it fixed right on the spot. By taking it in the car, it won't be damaged as to express it back. Lou has been wanting to try out the car to test mileage and overall performance. Lewis is all excited over the prospects of a ferry boat ride, so we shall try to take a ferry to Staten Island or Bedloe Island. We shall go over Friday night when Lou gets off work, and perhaps come back Saturday or Sunday depending on the reception and weather. We were going to take G-Mom along, but Elizabeth has started some sort of discharge, so she feels she cannot be away overnight. Elizabeth has had a bad cold and has coughed hard. I said that probably did it, but I don't know. I said it to reassure G-Mom, who gets overwrought. The weather here is awful. We had rain 14 of the first 20 days of May. I have 3 iris in bloom, but not many more buds, and don't expect a bumper crop of blooms as you had. I set out 3 cannas, and they are flourishing nicely, though no doubt some sun would help. I must get this into the mailbox quickly. I'll write a long one when we get back with the fixed typewriter. Love, Sweetie.
Hmm.
Okay.
So we know that she was looking for a new typewriter to have
Mm-hmm.
her own so she could give Dit back hers.
Yep.
And so she's found one. It kind of illustrates how much longer things took back then. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it always kind of blows my mind when she's like, "We're gonna go get this typewriter fixed. We're gonna
Right.
go this day. We're gonna do it,
Yep.
and then I'll let you know how it is in a few weeks after we." You know, it's
Yeah.
just everything takes so long.
Mhm.
You know, you can't just call people up. It's just I don't know. It's so funny because Chester was upset with her for not writing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, he probably got the letter. And so he was like, I'm mad and I'm going to write her and let her know how mad I am. And I'm going to
Right.
stick it in the mailbox. And then boom, a letter probably
Yeah.
came that same time.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh.
It also fills in the gap. The last letter was April 30th. It's probable she didn't write much going into May 24th because the typewriter was not working right. And she was just like, nah, I've had it. Like, she was just sick. She's just recovering. She's working in her
Oh,
garden. Too much to do.
and then Lewis got the mumps.
Then Lewis got the bumps. Yeah, great. Great.
And he seems like he dealt with it a little bit better than she might have. Natural mumps infection, 80 to 95% chance of lifelong immunity. And it says
Mm-hmm.
5 to 20% who
Okay.
get it and who are not
Occur.
healthy, like who have an immunocompromised system like that.
Okay.
Typically, you might get it again. However, I think her and Lewis were both strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that probably afforded her immunity from another infection.
Well, she has been fortified by much sulfa. So
The mumps got in there and saw the sulfa and were like,
we can't overcome this.
over
There's like a wall of sulfa treatments somewhere in her system that's like sulfa time. No, I don't even know.
She loves that sulfa bottle.
She really does.
But you know, she went to the Naval Hospital
Yep.
with Lewis when they were living in Norwood and heard it from that doctor
Dr.
about not
Roby.
taking sulfa all the
Do
time.
it. Yeah.
And then so she's like, "Oh, okay, I'll listen." But then she goes to Naval Hospital and she's like, "I think I might have the mumps." And they're like, "No, you're cool. Go hang around a baby and a pregnant woman."
Fine. Go get a new
You
car.
know, with your
Fine.
mumps. And then came back. I'm glad that doctor was back
Mm-hmm.
so he could see.
Right.
But you know, so you have to take it with a grain of sulfa. I don't know. That's a good one. Actually, I'm really proud
that was a really good one. I'm gonna leave that one in. Yeah.
You take it
That's
with a grain of
good.
sulfa.
That's good.
But anyway, okay, yes.
Yep.
So that was kind of a chaotic time. She had the mumps and felt awful, and then Lewis got it.
Yeah.
Oof.
But now they're planning on going to New York. They're gonna test out this car. So episode 80 is this is the feature of the episode. We get her description of her travels in New York City. County Line Road, Hatboro, Pennsylvania, June 1st, 1950. Dear Mama, Papa, Jean, Lizzie's, Frank's, and Florence, I had some letters to get out and find my time is rapidly passing by, so I shall have to make this short, if I'm to make the mailman this morning. I have waited too long as is. I get a couple polite little cards from Sister that I can consider the last word before the big silence, and then I must get a letter written, or be ostracized by the family. I think of so many things to tell you, and then I say, oh well, I'll tell that when I get home. Save writing it now, and I can probably tell it better anyway, so I try to mentally catalog that for some future time when I'll be home. I told the folks at least that we left on Friday night for New York. I'd written the typewriter people that we were coming and asked if they could fix it for me on the spot. I called many, many times to get them, but could not, and when we got home, found a telegram in the mailbox saying they would not be open, to leave the typewriter, and they would pick it up to fix it. We considered leaving it for Joe to take it to be fixed, but he couldn't possibly have done it unless he took a taxi, and once it was fixed, how could he get it back to us? So we brought it back with us. I've written to ask them if I can't have it fixed here, and then mail them an itemized bill. My reason was that I was returning home in June, and wanted to take the typewriter to my father, who originally did the ordering through me. I'm just fortunate to be able to keep this one, of Elizabeth's. We got to New York at about 7 in the evening. Joe has done a remarkable job of refinishing and upholstering the old furniture they brought from G-Mom's house. I saw Lou drool over some of it, and he had difficulty in restraining himself, saying that was promised to me. But as Marguerite says, Mom has always spoiled Joe, even at the expense of the other kids, and I could see that Lou was disappointed to find that he had several choice tidbits. Marguerite wasn't home from work yet, and when she did come, we spent the evening just chatting. She had to work on Saturday, so Joe, Lou, Louis, and I spent the day just gawking, first here and there, antique stores, the Salvation Army, and in one store Joe came upon a ladder-back rocking chair that dates back to 1700, that he bought for $1.50. We met Marguerite at 6 and went to Mott Street for a Chinese dinner. 6-course meal cost $1 apiece. Louis's was free. Only Jean knows what that means, inasmuch as she went with us on her visit to New York. We didn't go to the same place, but the food was the same. The atmosphere was a little more Chinese, as there were several family groups there and fewer tourists, as the place wasn't quite so showy. Then we took Louis for the ferryboat ride to Staten Island and back, and he was quite thrilled. Guess I'm not too old, for I got a great kick out of it too, especially as we went at dusk, and it was fun to watch the lights come on and the New York skyline take shape. We drove through the Bowery, saw the well-dressed man standing before the Mission to offer a helping hand to all the driftwood who might accept help. It seems strange to see such things take place before your eyes, when heretofore you are acquainted by what you read in print. We saw several places we visited in 1945 when Maida and Frank and Bob and Florence were in New York the day Lou sailed for England. I couldn't help but wish I had the power to turn time back. On Sunday we went for a walk along the waterfront park right close to Marguerite and Joe's, and then in the afternoon we walked along Orchard Street, which Jean will remember as Bargain Knows Heaven. All kind of stalls are built along the sidewalks, and you can buy anything you can think of. One stall may be dry goods, dress materials, towels, and right next, in almost unbelievable odoriferous display, are snails, fish, herring, and the smell, if not the sight, is enough to give you the wretched nauseas for the next 5 stalls to come, no matter what is on sale in them. We left New York a little late and caught heavy traffic on the Skyway and didn't get home until 11:30 at night. We were all worn out and tired for the next couple of days. I wrote to M.A. for her birthday and told her in more detail of the trip in New York, and if Sister thinks it warrants sending, she could send it to the folks, Jean, and whosoever might be interested. Before I forget it, Jean, I am using the last scrap of thin paper for carbons, and so if Iowa Pack is generous enough to provide me with some, I shall be most grateful. I shall try to buy some here to do it for a while. But if you are able to get some without endangering your standing, do so. I got terribly bogged down on my spring house cleaning, and shall have to take another hitch at it. The Venetian blinds got so dirty while I had the mumps and didn't keep after them, that they gave me lots of trouble. I had lots of clothes to sort and put away, etc., and just couldn't do it all as fast as I wanted to. I shall have to get at it again, and follow through on it. I'm hanging washing upstairs again, just as though it were winter, as these rains have made a lake of the backyard. I heard over the radio that there had been fewer than 10 sunshiny days this month, something unheard of in the history of the Weather Bureau, which goes back 78 years. I'm really glad that I did abandon the idea of a garden, as what little has been planted is rotting in the wet. I am waiting to hear from the folks when to come home, and what luggage I shall be able to take with me on the trip. Jean, are you planning on going along? Are you planning on a new car? I do wish you could plan to come back with me and see some of the things I've written you, and more recently M.A., about. You'd love the mountain and the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and there is much to see, the ocean, the seashore, and our house besides. It is time now for the mailman, and so I must stop right now if I'm to get this mailed today. I hope your plans are taking shape so that you can give me some definite date to plan on. Somehow, in these family letters, I don't get your letters answered very well, but we can talk later anyway. Lewis had a couple of notes to send to Grandma Demaree. I'll try to write again as soon as I can locate some paper that will take carbon copies in quadruplicate. Love to all. Sweetie.
So for the past few episodes, we have had Sweetie going back and forth between going to Iowa and going on this trip and then staying home and planting a garden. And now we have a definitive answer. She's going back to Iowa.
Yep, time to visit the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rock and the hard place we were talking about is present there. There are some other things moving in the background that are influencing the decision. Big influence that garden's not coming through. So that takes out that whole reasoning, because you could see Chester writing a letter being like, well, your garden's flooded anyway, so you might as well get home, and then I'll keep her trapped here for like 3 weeks, and maybe we'll head to the Southwest, because he was planning on traveling. Remains to be seen what's going to be happening with that. But yeah, that's a big part of this. And then I didn't want to interrupt her in the middle of the letter here, but like we get this amazing picture of New York in 1950, where she describes everything from the food that she's eating. She has a good connection. She's a place to crash, right? They can stay at least a night with Marguerite and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to like these different little segments of just the city life. The whole reason they go for the typewriter, the place is closed anyway, so can't get that done. Should have waited for that. We were just talking about the communication. Doesn't get the telegram till we get home. Oh, it's closed, right? Can't just like check the online hours and be like, no, we open this weekend. So,
Isn't that convenient?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. It definitely makes me appreciate some of the conveniences we have now that they didn't, that they weren't afforded back then. But you're right. We get this really awesome description of New York, and I just love how and I underline this. She says, "It seems strange to see such things take place before your eyes, when heretofore, you're acquainted by what you read in print." And it's true. It's really true. It's something I actually try to do in homeschooling. When we read about things and we learn about things, and then we go visit. We took a whole trip up to Niagara.
Yep.
We took a whole trip up to Niagara, and I got some books and stuff from the library, and we read about them, and we learned some before, and then we took them with us. But so it's really cool for her to be able to see things and bring it to life. It creates these wonderful experiences. And then Lewis just had a blast riding the ferry and seeing everything, and it seemed, and she too. We talked about this before. It seems like her and Marguerite get along just so well. It's such a shame that they're not closer together. And I think that if they were, that her and Marguerite would be forging a friendship, like something similar that she has with Jean.
Yeah, I think it'd be a much, much closer friendship than what she's established. Though, this description of New York, talk about show versus tell in a story, right? And we get the senses brought in. She does this so effortlessly, so naturally. From the smell of like the stalls, going from one stall, and then there's the one with all the fish, and we get that vibe of what's going on down at the waterfront, to the big part. And I was thinking about this as I was listening to this letter again. The Chinese food, when she goes to Chinatown to go get the Chinese food, that is, throughout her life, she always loved going out. She went out. That's what she wanted to have. It's something that even to this day, like, it's not the easiest thing to cook, not coming from that culture, because you can't replace, authentic and genuine Chinese food in areas like this outside of mainland China itself. I mean, Chinatown's pretty much as close as you're going to get. Here in Pennsylvania, if you go to Philadelphia, if you go to Reading Terminal Market, really, really good food. But when we were kids, on our birthday restaurant in Doylestown, every year without fail, was Chong's, which was the main, it's long since gone, was the main in the center of town Chinese food restaurant, and Grandma would be with us there. And it just occurred to me, like, that was always kind of like the outing place, and that of course then moved into to the next generation, that desire to have that. So there was like a taste memory that all of a sudden I was like, she's been obsessed with this at least from like the late 40s when she first went to New York, and it carried all the way to the end of her life.
That's so cool. Oh, thank you,
yeah.
Allison. I love it when you do that. But yeah, and that I actually kind of want Chinese food now for dinner.
Yeah, now I'm kind of craving it. Like, I should go get some Chinese food today.
Oh, when I come out, we should do that.
Oh, we should. We
The
really
next time we
should.
come out, we'll do Chinese food.
Where we used to go. But any Doylestown locals that are listening to this podcast, if you've been around for a bit, I'm sure you'll remember the Mrs. Chong and the Chong family and Chong's Chinese food, and we'll all just kind of cry together that they're not there anymore. But yeah.
Oh, too. Let's do. Because I just looked over and I wanted to. So it is, we know that Joe was able to get a lot of the pieces when Sydney sold the house.
Yeah, there's that.
Mm-hmm. And too, like Sweetie had written that, he was going to have to spend a lot of money to refurbish these things, that they didn't have that money to refurbish, and so Lou got to see it, and he just, it just irked him.
Yeah, and the word used, and I tipped Jamie off before we started recording this episode, the word to watch out for with antiques is she's going to constantly use it. Lou's doing it right now. They're drooling at the sight of so he's drooling. It's not my favorite word by far. I'm not a fan of that word. It's an awkward word, but man, it's going to be used a lot in these letters. It always seems to have to do with antiques in a positive way, which is like, oh, they're just that great. So if she's drooling over something, she's thinking in her head, how can I find a way to get those items? I wouldn't be surprised if my dad tells me we eventually did get some of those items. But then we have, just to finish the episode here, Jamie, we have 2 more short notes, one from the 3rd and one from the 16th. We're going to continue in June here. So let's see what happens a couple of days later. June 3rd. 1950. Dear Jean, today is Marie's birthday, and for once, I believe my card will reach her on time. Lou hitched a ride to work so I could take Louis to practice at Sunday school and run a few errands. Our one sunny day was so pretty and warm, and Louis played outside most of the day until he fell down the back steps and got bruised a little. The sky is cloudy, it is sprinkling, and just plain dreary again. My morale is low anyway, and rain does not help a bit. I am so left out of plans for the trip, being far enough away to miss the chats. I do so dread to leave Lou alone, and one main factor is that I've gotten so fat again. I'm so ashamed that it makes me feel depressed. But I haven't taken Dexedrine until just lately, and still have enough to do me till I get home. I think. But it is next to impossible to diet and cook for Lou, though I have tried. My clothes are tight, and I'm just plain ashamed. I hope you'll remember that I must go to Dr. Balmer to get my teeth cleaned and looked after, and help me make arrangements, and I'd be exceedingly grateful for any plans you can find out about that trip. Are you going? Love, Sweetie. I wanted to include this one because while it's a short note and she's just talking about the Dexedrine, I did want to not gloss over the fact that she talks about the birthday note to a Marie. The only Marie I can think of that she would be sending out a note to from afar is probably her old college friend, Marie Kirkpatrick, who we haven't talked about for many, many, many letters. So I suspect that's the Marie that's being referenced here. But then, yeah, we get into her inferiority complex raising its ugly head once again.
Which, I mean, is unfortunate because she was just really sick. And so that's not going to be helpful at all. Yeah. And Lou, she's got to take care of him. She's like, I have to cook and stuff for him and cook the things that he wants to eat and stuff. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to police your own, when you're like also feeding somebody else. And it's also, I think that the rain, she's in a bad place. Yeah. She's also, I don't think she wants to, I really do feel that she had the resolve that she was not going to Iowa this year.
Yep.
She had the resolve, and this is going against what she had decided. And so there's this internal conflict that I'm sure is like weighing on her because she doesn't want to leave Lou.
Right.
She doesn't want to leave him. It's nice he has a car now. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, that's the one good thing is the car. But like, the whole switch of like, here's all of her plans for the garden and everything else. Then she was sick, and it's just best laid plans.
It's definitely, this is a setback
Mm-hmm.
for her, and that probably is also weighing on her, and so, and it's always upsetting to see her like be down on herself.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really have anybody to talk to. But I think she is a little bit excited to get out.
She gets to see Jean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's always a bright spot. Like, I get to see my sister.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Like, no matter what happens, she's seeing her sister.
So, but we do have one more little note for this episode.
June 16th, 1950. Dear Jean, I'm more than half provoked with you, and once I'm there, I'm going to lower your ears right down to your kneecaps. I had a letter from Mama saying Frank and Maida were to arrive on the 22nd and stay till the 25th with the family dinner on Sunday the 25th. I hope somebody will notify Florence so she can get there. I'm asking you to do it, and start right away. If Florence drifts from the family, it's nobody's fault but ours. I'm calling Frank tonight to ask about coming from Chicago on with them, but believe I'd probably do as well to go on into Des Moines by train, and will arrive there on Thursday or Friday in Des Moines. We'll expect to stay overnight at 1341, so that my luggage will arrive the next day, and can be picked up for the trip to Lacona. May send a telegram to you if needed. Sweetie.
Oh, she mad.
Ooh,
I don't know what that means about kneecaps and lowering. What did she say?
Doesn't sound good. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like
she says, yeah, what is the phrase? Hold on, let's say that again, because it's so great. If you need a good phrase for being mad at someone, I'm going to lower your ears right down to your kneecaps. Sweetie's a bit upset. But then she says, we've been talking about this before, the part about Florence. We're not going to let Florence drift away. She's part of the family, this idea of keeping the unit together. And it's just so important to her. So important. It sounds like there was some sort of communication she got last minute, and she's like, we got to get everybody in the same place at the same time. That's her intention. She wants to see
it. It's very hard. It's very hard. I have a brother, 2 sisters, and it's so hard to get us all together at the same time. You know, you have different lives and you're all over the place.
Yep.
And that's how everybody is. Now, Florence is in Iowa, correct?
Yes.
So Florence is in Iowa, Jean is in Iowa, Chester and Laura in Iowa, Frank and Maida are in Chicago.
Yep.
But that's not actually that far.
Not too bad. Yeah. Chicago to Des Moines. Yeah.
And it seems that it really isn't, that they're only planning a 3-day trip.
Yep. She doesn't make any mention of Lizzie and Jabil. So.
Well, and that's another thing too, is they live near Des Moines as well.
Right. So it's implied they're probably there. If everybody else is coming in, they're probably there. But yeah, so at least there's some sort of a reunion, something that's maybe going to happen here. But that's it for today's episode. We're not going to find out what actually happens when Sweetie goes to Iowa. We're going to have to leave that to next week. But next week's episode, everybody, there's a lot of stuff going on for next week's episode. Not only do we have to see what happens with Sweetie spending some time in Iowa, no word yet if Lewis is going. Is he staying with G-Mom? We don't know. We'll find that out. But I've been warning about this for a number of episodes now. We've got to keep our eyes on the timeline. Now, there was talk about Lou's re-enlistment in a previous episode. He's going to re-enlist with the Navy. He's going to decide if he wants to get a payout or if he wants to take additional leave time and add to like a potential vacation. Vacation seems to be out because she's going to Iowa. But here comes the world catching up with everybody else. We're not going to get into this content at the end of this episode. It is too big. We're going to start with it at the beginning of next week's episode because, as everybody should know and is unfortunately forgotten, and that's going to come into play a lot, the Korean War is going to start between the letters of this week's episode and episode 81. So we'll be starting with that. Here comes the Korean War on top of everything else going on. And with that, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.